And the only fish is back. Don't know what episode this is. Lost count. We're flying. Before we get to tonight's episode, I'm going to pass you on to Jordan. He's going to talk about our sponsor.
Just a big thank you to Allied Maritime Solution, who's the best in the maritime sector for anything you need done for safety around boats, cleaning boats, making sure it's all going well. They're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, so give them a follow and support them.
Did you not go and climb Nevis the other day for our illustrious charity? You're going to mention?
So, charities help for veterans. We climbed Nevis the other day last Sunday. There was 23s went up for all different like levels of fitness. There was a 9-year-old went up as well, so he went up and down. It was quite good. It was good just to get back with the boys, get a bit of banter and that going. But me and one of the boys that done it, Mick, we're now going to be going down the West Highland Way. It was just a spur of the moment thing. So we've now got a GoFundMe for the West Highland Way. We're going to do it starting Monday, come back on Friday. But we'll do with videos and that along the way, so help for veterans.
Well, we're in my new living room, our Paul's brand new studio, which is quality. Well, big shout out to the green room. Paul smashing it, but let's get into tonight's episode. Tonight's episode is about a young man, Darren Young. I'll not elaborate on the story because we're going to get into it, but this is a story that we all feel really needs to be told. There's a lot more to it than what you'll see, what's out there now. So we're hoping to get into that tonight. Tonight's episode we're joined by Jackie, who is Darren's mum, and Craig, who is Darren's uncle, cousin?
Pal, but I became his uncle. I married his auntie, so that's the kind of running joke. I'm his uncle now. But
fair play. So how are you getting on?
Aye, alright. Alright now.
Aye.
It's been some journey then, since...
Aye, it's been non-stop, innit?
It's been like something for a movie.
Aye.
We'll go into Darren's story. There'll be people who it might be new to this. We're hoping the whole point of this podcast and having yourselves on is to get this story out there, and I hope this is just the start at growing, because as I say, this needs to be told. It really needs to be told, this story. And the stuff that Jordan kind of sent me over, and I went through it as well, it touched me, you know what I mean? I was really taken back by it. So if you want to just kind of, and not so much introduce Darren, but just tell us a wee bit about Darren before, just to let people know who he is, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean? Like,
just
in
my
general.
boy, just a good guy. Always worked, loved poker, and then went professional, and that's just who he is. Nice guy, helped everybody. That's that.
Ayrshire boy.
Aye,
yes.
Aye, fecal Marnock, aye. Stayed in Glasgow. Eventually, we stayed up there and that. We've had a lot of pals up here, but aye, he's fecal Marnock, aye.
For what I seen, his life was basically his way, wasn't it?
Oh, aye.
Aye,
His
Cara was
whole
everything.
life was his
Aye.
your lassie.
Yep, definitely, mate.
What I seen was he was just constantly trying to fight to get her.
Aye.
And that there is commendable.
Aye.
Obviously, me myself, I've had kind of problems with exes and stuff, so I can kind of relate to his story. But watching what he done, how far he went, it's you got to take your hat off to him.
Yeah.
I mean, what age was Darren when Cara was born?
He'd have been 27.
So a young dad.
27,
got to take
aye.
that on.
Aye, 27.
And it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy journey for him, was it, to start with?
No.
So I mean,
For the very start, it was a nightmare, really, wasn't it? It was.
Yep.
His ex didn't make it easy for the word go. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. It was for the word go. It was obvious she was just going to make his life hell. Obviously, for there it just steadily got worse, didn't it? It was just a constant stream of fighting, battles.
Did you see it getting worse for the start? Like obviously when he started.
It started off like baby steps. So obviously when you have to start it, you start by supervised visits. Aye. And remember, it was COVID as well.
Aye, that's
so it had came, so that
kind
kind of slowed things down. So it was supervised, and then he was getting her for so long. Then he was working his way up to, I think the most he would have got was every second weekend and either 1 or 2 nights during the week. So he was like that's what he was doing.
Hang being there was no, just to get it, there was no reason for Darren no to have the wean either. Again, this all started. She just didn't want him to see the wean. That was it. Dan hadn't done anything to her or the wean, anything like that. It was just. We eventually, it was a control thing, wasn't it? It was just all about control. Everything was about control. She wanted to be in control and have something over him that she could use. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I'm putting my. But that was what the full thing was about, control for the start. But like I say, things just get slowly worse and slowly worse through her, and obviously like the lawyers, the full family court system, everything. Do you know what I mean?
See like yourself, how did you feel knowing that Darren was having to go through all this just to see his wean? Because I seen a clip that he was having to get stripped naked at the door just to get in the house.
That was it. So that was at his ex-partner's house. So that nobody was allowed in there, so I'd never been there.
That must have been hard for you to hear him say, I need to get stripped to get into this house.
But it was always like, he has to go through all this to see Cara. So it didn't matter what, like even if she phoned him late at night and didn't matter what he was doing, if she says you can come down and see her, even for 30 minutes, he would just drop what he was doing, go straight down.
Aye. That's
So,
testament to his character though, wasn't it?
aye, that was his life.
To see that way.
Cara was his life.
Aye.
You could see that. What was it like, see, before the pregnancy and stuff as well? What was their relationship like before that? Was it?
It was all right, but then they'd obviously split up and then discovered that she was pregnant, so then they kind of...
It wasn't great.
Back together. No, it wasn't great,
to start
but
with.
she
For what he
stayed
dealt
at my
with
bit,
anyway.
and to be honest, I got on all right with her. Like, I got on all right with her, and still did always communicate with her until the lawyer told me to stop communicating, which is so wrong, because you should always have an open communication.
Of course.
If two parties can't talk, then there should always be a like somebody there that can communicate. And on the advice of Darren's lawyer, she says that I was to stop communicating with her.
Was that the first one? The first
No.
No, this is just bad information that we got all the time. It was,
Maybe about the third or fourth lawyer.
Aye.
Run about that, I think.
And you were in contact right up until then?
I was in contact with, because I was getting Cara as well.
Right.
So Darren was getting her, and then at one point they'd asked if I would help with childcare, so I was getting her every second Wednesday.
Was that Darren's ex that asked you for the help with the childcare? Was it? Because
Aye, it was
I
at the
seen one
court.
of the ones where he had the wean at your house and she said, no, I don't want parents and all that, it's just you. You're the only one
That was
see the
kind
wean.
That
of
was
the
at the
start.
beginning.
That was at the start.
I had brought her to see me because we hadn't seen her all that time, and he brought her to my bit, and then there's actually a picture of me standing at my, it's like patio doors, holding her, and he'd posted it on his social media, and she'd seen it and she knew it wasn't his flat.
So then she
So that stopped, that caused
she used that as
problems.
That's a weapon.
as a way of stopping them seeing it. Throughout the full story, things like that happened all the time. She come up with things, just stupid reasons, anything that she can hold the vein for him, basically, do you know what I mean? I personally, well, I think a few years, I think that was actually her getting coached by the lawyers as well.
Probably.
Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of it, I mean, I'm not saying she wasn't in today with it, because she was, but a lot of stuff came for the lawyers, I feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were coaching her to do it.
Aye. I think what's amazing about this story is this all started because one guy couldn't get to see his wean because an ex was starting shite really, and it snowballed for there.
Yep.
And to go as far as it's went, when I started watching, it was like chapter 1, 2, up to chapter 16, and when I go to chapter, I just remembered this all happened because a guy's fighting to see his wean.
This is what the story is.
This
It's just a dad
that's what
trying
it
to
was
see his
about.
daughter.
Aye.
That's it. And
It's-
how it came to this.
Is it to be honest, to end up with as many lawyers as it did end up with?
Aye.
I should have been fixed at the first lawyer.
Surely. This is what's wrong with the system, if you want to call it a system, isn't it? It's
Aye,
just
well, that's
so
I
backwards.
mean, that's what this is about for that's what it was about for Darren as well. Like, Darren was a good guy, man. Like, he see injustice and things like that. It didn't sit right with him. And when he started putting this all together and understanding the way it actually works. He couldn't sit and let that happen either. As much as all he wanted to see was his win, knowing what he knew, he couldn't. I can't him. He wouldn't have let that happen. He couldn't have let it happen. Do you know what I mean? And for months and years, we sat and listened to this and knew, obviously, him not being here, you have to do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Knowing what we know and what we want everybody else to know, and eventually get his video out there. It's about making change mainly. Obviously, we want to see we want lawyers punished for what they've done. We want police officers punished for what they've done. But
Sheriff.
It's the sheriff, big time. But at the same time, we'd like to see change. We want to see some, so that other dads don't have to go through it. Not just dads, mums as well. I can mums, but
it shouldn't happen once. No. Certainly shouldn't.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, see, when we kind of found out like you were coming on, when it was arranged, like I kind of put the feelers out, and I think I spoke to about 3 or 4 different people from Ayrshire, and they all knew Darren, and not one with a bad word to say about him.
Oh no, man.
No, he was a good guy, and he helped people, and he would have done anything. And he always say he was a happy-go-lucky, but he used to say to me, "Mum, why am I so unlucky with lawyers?" When he was like a lucky guy, he was good
He was
poker,
happy,
he was lucky,
like,
but he just kept, "Why me so unlucky with the lawyers in this?" Because we would question it, we would be like, "This isn't
That
right,
doesn't
that's
make
it." But then you think you're paying somebody to work for you, and then they're
somebody
not
you're
doing,
meant to be able to trust.
you think that you're doing the best thing and believing in them.
So was it the first lawyer that Darren went to? Was that the one where they tried to get the case adjourned back a couple of months, and he went and ended up representing himself?
No, that was
I think that was
Aye.
sheriff.
That mate?
lawyer free, was it?
Aye,
No?
That
I'm
was
kind
fun
of
about that.
like,
Aye. So
with all the
can I
different
I'll just try to work it out.
Was that many of them?
That was a third lawyer. Third lawyer, aye.
The first lawyer was his ex-partner's hairdresser.
Aye.
Is that right?
Aye.
conflict
interest
straight away.
She must have known that straight
Yeah.
away.
Oh, she of course, aye.
Surely
As soon as she sees the name on a phone about it, like,
Aye.
sorry, I can't represent
And
you.
they caught, was it £900 or so? So you get £1,100 bill from that person.
Aye. He put £200
A
down.
deposit.
What she done was he was filling out legal aid forms for help with fighting it. Which again, that's something I was going to say as well. Like she's decided, his ex has decided he's not seeing the vein, and he wants to fight that. She gets everything covered, and for him to fight to see his vein, he has to pay. To just to have the chance of seeing his vein, not to see his vein, the chance to see his vein. That's something that's going to change as well. The full system is just rigged for. Do you know what I mean? But sorry, I went off on a tangent there. What was I saying there? Sorry, what were we talking about?
Just about the number of...
The bill that he got.
Aye, she told him to fill out the legal aid form. She would check it and send it away. And 5 weeks later, he went in. You filled it in wrong. And Dan's like, well, you were meant to check over it.
Is that not their job to?
You must fill in these every other day. How's that? It doesn't matter, right? Done it again. Sent that away. 5 weeks later, rang again. And then Dan's going, well, no, this isn't right. You can questioning, why are you getting this wrong? This is your job. So she then says to him that I can't represent you anymore. You're questioning my ability to do my job. I can't represent you, basically. Help me, I think it was £1,100, he'd paid £200 up front. So Dan just was like, well, no, I'm not paying you. What, to fill 2 forms in wrong, and that's 10 weeks I've not seen my wee lassie now. You've done nothing for me, why am I paying you that? So, that's basically where it started for, wasn't it? That was how this full saga became. See a wee bit down the line, Dan actually said to me, he goes, I just wish I'd paid it there and then. If I knew what I knew now, I just wanted to see my wee lassie, do you know what I mean?
I can understand why I never paid it, but it's just out of pure frustration. You're supposed to open up and tell this person all your deepest, darkest secrets, and they're supposed to help you figure out how to.
And they can't fill in a simple form that they do every other day.
Stuff, right?
How far on in the kind of process between lawyers did kind of Darren start to realise that something's a bit off with this
I would
system?
say the summertime.
Just last summer.
Last summer.
I
Because he
got
put
3
faith
years
in
into it.
them.
Yeah.
Every
Got 3 years
different
into it.
lawyer, he put his faith in them. Every time they mocked it, he was all right.
He was
Try
questioning
again.
things.
He was questioning things, but I could say maybe about the summertime you kind of started to see things was
That's when he started putting it all together.
aye.
Throughout the full process, he was questioning things. And it's a bit like, I mean, I beat myself up about this now, but even right up until maybe end of last year, when I was talking to Darren on the phone when he was in Asia, I was kind of saying, "Oh, Darren, you need to come home now, man. Like, you need to come back. This isn't what it seems," because the story is just mental. You know the story is absolutely mental, and I think through the full process, he was questioning this, but going, "I can't be." Do you know what I mean? That can't be. Like, they're here to help me. Simple as that. But eventually, I think it just twigged with him. And Darren is one of the smartest guys I've ever met, if not the smartest. And I mean that. I think it was the way these lawyers have done this to thousands of folk. But Darren had the money and the brains to fight it. Unfortunately for him, obviously. But there's thousands of this happens every day. It's not just family court either, man. This is divorces, property cases, everything. It's all to do with legal aid. It's a massive scam. Do you know what I mean?
It's a big money maker.
Aye. It's no setup. So I was talking to Darren's good pal last night. We were talking about coming on and that, and he worded it in a way that I hadn't really thought he worded it well. It's the only job in the world where there's no incentive to get your job done quick.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in my work, if I get things done quickly, I got a bonus. They're actually making more money for
Dragging it out.
and causing disruption and making things hard for.
Aye.
So
And if they
why
get
would
it
they want
wrong-
it done quick?
No.
If they get it wrong, they go,
Aye.
Still get paid.
There's only a couple of grand in my pocket. Do you know what I mean? And so, I mean, it's that's how simply put. That's the simplest way of putting it. Like, no other job in the world rewards you for making things last longer than they should.
I don't care what kind of man you are or who you are. I think that would torment anybody's mind. That would be enough to knock you for six. And was that visible with Darren? Like, obviously you know what was going on, but was it
Aye.
visible on him? Did it?
Near the end.
Near the end.
I'm saying the end. I'm talking about before he left.
Yeah.
Aye, so he left in December.
He was
In the few weeks leading up to him actually leaving the country, aye. But again, you never moaned, didn't you know? Like, he did moan, but
no. He would come to my bit, and then obviously he was reaching out for help. So he had contacted the lawyers, the people that oversee the lawyers,
the Law Society.
Law Society, and explained it to them, and then they was like, "This is criminal. Go to the police." So then he was going to the police, and they was basically
They done
shutting
that.
him down, saying your reality isn't your reality, and all this. Then back to the Law Society, and then the police finally agreed to come to my bit to sit and talk to us and go through it all.
Uniform police, or was it?
Yep.
Aye.
the bit that I mind is the fact that he went to the police to report a crime, and then they sent him away to say you need to gather your evidence. When is it our job to gather evidence when you report a crime? Is that not what the police are there for?
Well, it doesn't matter what crime you're reporting, they should be taking you in to take a statement, take you into a back room, take a statement.
We wouldn't even give him a criminal reference number.
I mean,
No.
that's the first thing. Go and get a statement done, and then, like you say, criminal reference number. They sent him away, so he went back and he gathered his evidence up and was going to go back in to the local police station. And when he did go back in, he kind of had a wee realisation, like, I shouldn't be reporting it to this particular station. Do you know what I mean? Because they're obviously working closely with these folk that he's accusing. He went up to an air police station, Govan, and the exact same thing happened. They actually got a wee recording in there of the guy refusing to help him. Point blank refused. So I think it was 3 or maybe 4 times he reported it to the police. So I'm talking about he went with evidence, all the evidence that we're talking about, reporting these lawyers and the sheriff, the judge.
You'd get more attention if he fucking stole a car or something.
Aye.
I mean, it's shocking.
Aye, that's it.
It's absolutely
So they just
shocking.
turned him away, no help. Like I say, you get a wee recording of the guy telling him it was illegal illegal to record in a police station and all that, which is a load of shite.
It's a public place, isn't it?
Aye, do you know what I mean? So
Just public servants, isn't he?
aye.
Yes.
Just constant lies, constant. But that's just the common theme of the full story. For that side of the, Dan wanted, the reason Dan posted everything on Facebook, on social media, because he wanted to be complete. He had nothing to hide. He wanted to be completely transparent. That's what I always said. I used to say to him, "You're not doing yourself any favours with his Facebook posts," because that was at the point when he wasn't doing very well. If folk were saying to me, "I believe what he's saying, but it's the way he's putting it across and all that." It sounds a bit.
Do you think it were kind of going down the road that he might be a bit paranoid and stuff?
Aye. But I don't blame him. I don't blame him for it. I wasn't, but like I said before.
Well, that's what the posts were trying to get.
Aye, that's what the road they were going down.
Paranoid.
Aye.
And you need to be on his medication.
Aye, well, that's what they wanted to do. Aye.
But it sounds like they were wanting to section him.
Aye.
So that they can.
Well,
go.
Darren believed that's why Darren left the country,
Aye.
because he thought that's what they were going to do. They were going to that's the route they were going down. They wanted to get him drugged up. They wanted
Aye,
him
well, they tried to
sectioned
put a
and-
gagging order on him.
Aye. To stop him talking about it all as well and that. But
Before the police came to the house to speak to us,
Who was this, one of the lawyers?
the lawyers tried to put a gagging order on him. They served him 48 hours. He had to respond. Most of them gagging orders are 7 days.
7 days.
You get 48 hours. But he managed to, I don't know, say
they also knew that he
counteract
didn't-
it or whatever it is they call it. Like, so he managed to stop it. So the next week, the police came to my bit to sit and speak to us about what Dan was saying. And they says they could see things wasn't right, but there's a fine line between civil and criminal. So there was in with us for 2.5 hours. But Darren was going to the children's court on the Friday, and he had all his evidence. He was representing himself, and he was going to present everything to the judge. So bear in mind, the 2 police had been in my house for 2.5 hours on a Wednesday. Thursday night, me and Dan's getting organised for court. He's at his bit, I'm at my bit. The judge had said that I was allowed to go in with him because he was representing himself. And then I got a phone call for the sergeant at Kilmarnock Police Station to say they'd arrested him for a tip-off on breaching his bail conditions for being in Bank Street, which is where the lawyer's office is, like, in Bank Street. So there was an anonymous tip-off that he'd been in Bank Street and I had to investigate it. So that's how they kept him in all night, right through to the next afternoon. I had to go to Ayr Court in the morning to tell him that he wasn't coming. And I just, at that point, I didn't even think there was anything funny. And then Darren got out on the Friday night, came to my bit on the Saturday, and he's like, "Mum, I need to leave the country because they're out to get me." And I'll be honest, a bit of me was like, this is so far-fetched that it doesn't make sense to me, because I believe the police, I trust the police, like, always my family's in the police, so I never questioned anything the police done. And then Dan was due back up at court. I think his next date was a few weeks later, and the night before, I get a chap at my door, police officer looking for Darren. Bearing in mind Dan's in Thailand, but I didn't tell him he was in Thailand. And he was like, "I need to speak to you." So I was like, "What is it?" Come in. There was a police car sitting outside, and I said to him, "Tell the other officer to come in." He was like, "No, he can stay there." And as he shut the door, he says to me, "Are you in here yourself?" And I was like, "No, my partner was standing in the stairs." Come down, and I was like, "What is it? Can you phone him?" Tried to phone him, and he answered. And I was like, "What is it?" He's been driving about Kilmarnock this morning. He's not got a driving licence. I'm like,
It's not even in the country.
Darren's, he's been 100% right. That was when it finally dropped with me. Like, I was like, he's been right. So bear in mind, my mum's now come in. She's panicking, thinking something's happened, because there's now a riot van at my door as well for a guy that was driving about without a licence, supposed to be.
For a guy that basically just wanted to see his licence.
And I was like, I've got his, like, he has got a licence. No, he hasn't. So in my head, I'm like, I cleaned his flat. So I was like, I know exactly where it is. I'm thinking at first, is it maybe out a date? So anyway, they got away. They then go and get the dog walker. They go to the dog walker's mother's. They go to his ex's. Like, they're out in full force for this guy that's been driving about the town without a licence.
Over
Aye.
a case that's a guy wanting to see his daughter. That's a bit
Aye, so this has
crazy,
been
innit?
now attached onto it. So the next day I go, gets his flat, get his licence is in date, and I'm like, yes, I've got them. Phones them to come down and see me. Nobody came. Waited nearly a week. Phoned the MSP's office. The lady in there was telling her, she's like, look, I can phone them because they're supposed to respond back to you if you ask for a call back. She phoned me back and she says, they don't want to speak to you. I was like, I've got his licence here. I want
But
to
the
shut
police
this
didn't
down.
Aye.
Police didn't want to
What,
speak
after-
to me.
After
Basically
hunting them
from
for
the
a
news.
week with
Aye.
riot vans for
So
police officers.
I was like, I've got evidence here, which police are supposed to collect evidence, like you says before, and they refused to come and get it. And I was like, this is so wrong. There's something no right. Just
Man,
stinks.
no wonder he had to. Anybody, I would have been the same. It would have been, I need to get a Dodge. This is.
Aye.
It's scary. It's actually scary
Well,
to
and
think what would have happened if he didn't do that.
the other thing, Darren was a prison officer, so the last place you want to be is in prison.
Exactly.
Aye, I
Right?
know,
So
aye.
that was
Game
his
over,
biggest
innit,
fear
aye.
as well. He'd never been in trouble with the police, never done anything wrong all his life, always worked, prison officer, the railways at night, done that, and then obviously he'd always played poker, but then went professional with the poker, but had never had any dealings with the police or anything like that. So for them then to turn on you, and then if you're not used to dealing with the law, you're like, well,
daunting,
I don't want to go to prison because I worked in that prison, so obviously that's
Yeah.
scary to
course.
most people. And then after that, the police was coming all the time, going to his flat, harassing my daughter. She was in the flat with her kids. They're going banging the door at 11 o'clock at night. And all the time, Dan's communicating with the police
He's on the phone to them.
on the phone, as you'd have seen all the times. Dan's not in the country, and they still persisted to harass everybody. Shannon, the girl that walked his dog, they was sitting, she was using his car because her car broke. They was sitting, they was following her car. Like, it was just harassment all the time.
Remember the original reason they came to the door was that he'd been seen driving around Kelly without a licence, and then once they'd spoke to Darren, they kind of started changing it, like, no, it was a misunderstanding, your mum's not heard this right.
Questioned
It's
you.
Question me who
Aye.
there's 3 people in the house, 3
what
witnesses.
was it they changed it to again? No, you were, what was it?
A warrant, I think they
And,
say. Or there
no,
was-
an anonymous tip-off.
oh,
An anonymous
tip-offs.
tip-off that Darren had been driving his car. They hadn't seen him. Anonymous tip-off.
Aye.
And then, again, it changed again to, no, what, and he's got video evidence of the police officer saying it. No, what it was, somebody felt your cord bonnet and it was one.
Jeez.
Police officer felt your cord bonnet and it's one. So they sent a riot van round to his mum's door.
Aye.
That's obviously.
In fact, was there not 2 riot vans? Was there not 2 riot vans?
No,
Just
it,
the
I
one-
bet it was the
one-
police car in the right van.
Aye, that's what it was.
It's scary that that's been orchestrated for somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And it's the thought of it coming for solicitors is.
Well, the anonymous tip-offs, who
Aye,
else has
exactly.
got time
Aye,
to...
Right,
no,
see
it's-
if you take a story right and you switch it up and you say, there's a guy coming to my mum's door looking for me all the time, and basically use this false story and take it to the police and then say to them, oh, by the way, see the guy that's coming to my door? It's the police.
Yeah. But we did.
It's-
Aye. That's what I mean.
They're
man.
not
It's
going
like,
to do
it's like the
anything.
biggest gangster
Aye.
for him about, innit?
Aye. That's that, mate. Aye.
I
They
just
get to
think
do whatever they
it's
get, what they want.
Aye.
great. I think it's really deep, the fact that they're going to their lengths to find somebody who's just trying to.
It's
Sort
because
something out.
it's because of how much corruption Darren exposed at the end of.
Aye, it's fear in it. That's them acting on
Aye.
fear. It's-
Aye, they tried to
wild.
shut him up with a gagging order, and then Darren is quite smart, so he get it done and get that stopped. So what was the
Played
next
them at the end
thing?
game.
Aye.
That was what the problem was as well. And I said this to Darren all the time, is that they do this to so many folk and they get away with it, but they didn't like that Darren was smarter than them.
Yeah.
And Darren was smarter than them. I think it actually became personal a wee bit with it, because they
Aye.
could not get him. No matter what they'd done, the only way they could get Darren was take the vein away from him, because it's so easy to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But
It's
then
the most powerful weapon,
if
innit?
they're coming up with lies, like it's anonymous tip-off, it's
Aye.
fucking this,
Aye.
that, who's going to get believed?
Exactly,
You know
mate.
Listen,
Exactly.
They get to say
was
whatever they want.
aye, that was the running theme
Aye.
all the time.
Constant,
Anonymous
aye.
tip-offs, and I'm like,
Don't know how many anonymous tip-offs I've had about
aye.
Darren.
It's
Do you know what I
just
mean?
all but damn. Even the last time they came to my door, I was trying to get ready for my work, so I was mad that they came because I was trying to get ready. So I was doing the stairs, I was kind of shouting at them. But at that point, the lawyer that Dan had went to their office, there was Dan wasn't allowed to go near her. So she was emailing Dan and she was putting at the bottom of it, like goading him and then saying, don't respond to this because you're breaking your
So this is the
contact.
solicitor?
So this was one of the solicitors. So Dan had been telling me this. So when the police came to my door, I was like, look, this person, the solicitor's emailing Dan. If you've got a no contact, it should work both ways. And she was like, no, I don't know nothing about that. And I was like, no. So if I've got a no contact order against me, but the person that's got it against me is trying to contact me, what would you do? She was, they'd get arrested. And I was, well, go and arrest the lawyer. Look, why are you coming to my door? Just go and arrest
ended
him.
up, Dan got arrested. Jackie was saying there about the night before he was going to take all his evidence to court about the lawyers, and that was the reason he got arrested, because Dan had sent a subject access request to her assistant, so no to her, emailed the subject access request to, I was going to say her name there, to the assistant, and that's what they had done him for. That's what they went to the house and arrested him for, to keep him out of court the next day, if you know what I mean. But she had been contacting him, and Jackie had told the police that, but they done nothing about that. He's got the evidence there, he's got the emails there.
I've got them all. Like, Darren was clever, he kept everything, he recorded everything, he sent everything. So, about all the big evidence that we was going to court with on the Friday, I was even scared, so I had to get everything taken out my house and all that. And I was like, I'm just a person that goes to work, doesn't care, doesn't break the law. And how am I feeling like that in my own home, that I'm not scared to keep anything in my house in case they come in and take it.
This is a kind of thing that's just not going to affect him. It's going to affect
So
everybody.
it did
around him.
affect,
It's going to affect you. It's going to affect
me. It affected me because obviously I was missing him.
Yep.
It was so far away. It wasn't in a good place the first couple of months, but Nina's would have been a good place if you've ripped away for everything you know.
Where does your trust go? Who do you trust? Who do you turn to when you've got a problem now? Or you got an issue?
That was the main issue, aye.
Then the day that I went and reported Dan missing, we was going into, me and my partner was going into Kilmarnock police station to report him as a missing person, and I says to my partner across the road, this is sticking in my throat going in here, but I need to go. So we went in, we waited, spoke to them, and they took my information and they contacted me an hour later to say it was going to Interpol. So they'd raised it with Interpol. So I had gave them information where Dan was, the exact location, who he was with, who he was worried about, their contact details, everything. And I gave the same information to Craig. Within an hour, Craig had contacted the Philippines. Kilmarnock Police Station still hadn't contacted them. And yet to this day, haven't contacted them. Done nothing. Absolutely nothing. I found out for Craig what had happened to Dan. And it's also wrong. They never reached out. They did phone me back in the morning again to say that it was escalated to Interpol. And then a couple of hours later, Craig obviously got the news. And Craig had to phone and tell me what had happened to my son. So this is now the Tuesday. By the Thursday morning, I'm losing the will. And I phoned Kilmarnock Police Station demanding somebody come and speak to me.
Can I just,
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just to rewind back a wee bit. It's just see when, how long was Darren in, so from when he got arrested, that time, how long was that between then and then he went to Asia?
A couple of days.
Oh, so it was that quick? So he acted on it
Dan
quick?
got arrested on the Thursday because he was so organised. He got a report for his therapist saying how good he was. He got a paid for psychiatric report done because he knew that when he went into the children's court, the first thing the opposite lawyer's going to say is, this guy's crazy. So Dan had all his ducks in a row. The one thing he didn't bank on was getting arrested on the Thursday night. So he got kept in all day to the Friday afternoon. And then on the Saturday, he phoned me to say he was coming down to see me. And that's when he decided he had to leave.
He went to Philippines, Thailand?
He went to Europe first.
Then
Thailand.
Bangkok.
Dubai, Bangkok.
And you still stayed in touch on that way the whole time.
Aye,
So,
every day.
so
Aye.
it's not as if he was just running away to run away. He was just getting out the way to crack
He
on
had
and
to
keep the
get-
fight.
He
Aye.
had to get away. He was scared. They was going to do something to him and lock him up.
He
Like-
thought he was going to
He ended up
get...
trying. Once he was away, setting him up with that. He was driving his
It
motor.
was
so-
brilliant.
Aye.
So, should I mention a bit? The passport?
No.
No.
No, don't do anything that's going to incriminate him.
No, don't
No,
mention
it's
it.
not
just-
incriminating, but it's
No,
just...
but just
No.
No, we'll just get to his out
get
and
to
easier.
what I
He went a few places. He was in Pakistan. He was in Thailand. He was in
Dubai.
Philippines, Cambodia. He was just kind of about. He knew folk out there. He was going and seeing people. Folk were flying out to meet him.
Just moving, extending.
also
Aye.
he's playing. He was
He was playing
working.
poker.
Aye.
So the
He's playing poker to fund it.
the 2 month, the first couple of months, he was out there just trying to get his head around about it all, like, and then he started working. Tim's playing poker, so he was like working, making money, traveling, working on a documentary, trying to get all his stuff organised, make money, and then was to come back home because he knew when he come home he'd get arrested, so he was wanting the documentary
We
there.
thought that having the video and having because I says to him, it would have been end of December, I says like you need to get this all in a chronological order, write it all down, have everything, just every wee detail, write it all down. But he went one better, he got a camera and that and done it
Body cam.
and videoed everything. He videoed everything, put it on into the video that you've now seen. And we thought, I mean, maybe a week before he passed away, I'd says he'd tell me that the video was nearly ready and that, and it was a mate that was editing it and putting it together. He told him it was nearly ready, and I'd say, well, that means you can come home now, like, and he's never, see up until this point, he'd never agreed with me, he'd never, he was like, no, I can't do it, they'll do something, blah, blah, blah. And he'd actually says to us at that point, well, maybe you're maybe right. If that's out there, then they can't do it to me. They can't hurt me because how dodgy does that look? I've put this out, all this info out there, and then all of a sudden I'm locked up or I'm sectioned or I'm not. So, I thought he was going to be coming home to put this video out himself. Come on.
See, if you're like having your son for just a normal, happy-go-lucky guy, he ends up having a wedding to a few years down the line, having to have 24 hours video. How's that? How do you even comprehend that? How do you deal with that?
You can't. I just keep saying it. It's like I feel as if I'm living a movie. Like it's like something that you see in Netflix or something like that. That's to me. That's what it's like. Living a nightmare. No, because it's just I can't believe that some guy belongs to this country has had to leave here and now end it
To
up.
feel safe?
Aye. Like I can't get my head around about it. How
I couldn't get my
don't
head
get
around
it,
about it.
yeah.
This is just a normal guy for Kilmarnock.
Just wants to see his win.
Wants to see his win, goes to a lawyer, the lawyer ends up being an arsehole, goes to the next one, next thing he knows, he's having to video everything he does because the police in the system are wanting him.
Aye.
So now he's having to, I mean, that must take a massive toll on him.
it did.
See, I mean, the way I was used to think, I've got two veins, and I love my veins. Darren, like, with the family, well, I got family, do you know what I mean? And I used to sit and say to myself, if somebody taken my veins for me, I don't know what, I genuinely don't know what I would be like. I don't know, but I kind of I wouldn't do well anyway. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that his vein had been taken away from him. He was also having to fight all this, and he basically, like Dan said, 4 years of his life was a lie, man. Like, for that to realise that all of a sudden and top everything you've been through already, I don't think anybody could handle that. I don't care who you are. Like, that's enough to break anybody. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
And Dan admitted it himself. It did it for
That's what I say. It wasn't good
for
at first.
December till about, I reckon maybe start of March time, he knew himself he wasn't good, but he went and done the work. He was earlier, he went and spoke to somebody, he got help, for his seed, and what he was trying to put it together and see why he was feeling the way he was feeling about things, and he got there. I mean, you have seen the video. Does he seem mental?
Never seen a more clear and concise video.
Very driven, very.
This is like a mental health podcast, right? Basically a mental health podcast. Mm-hmm. We talk about all sorts of stuff. Now, our mental health suffered through war and other things like that, right? See, having the story, I try to tell people it's not just soldiers that get. This guy's story has been, watching it, as I said, a normal guy from Kilmarnock, and then next thing he's having to do 24-hour surveillance on himself. Mm-hmm. That must have took a massive toll on him. He must have been looking in a mirror and not seeing the same person.
Mm-hmm. It was exactly how it was.
And
that was exactly
watching himself and thinking, all this effort, and I've still not seen my way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is the catalyst of everything. Yep. All this effort, and I've still not seen my way. Mm-hmm. I'm now in Cambodia, Pakistan. I'm having to stay away to try and see his way. Mm-hmm. And it's all because of the system.
The system's wrong.
It needs brought down.
Aye, it does.
Fox had the right idea, I'm telling you, man.
And it genuinely does take one person with the right amount of fight to change it, and it's just getting a story out. It really is. I says to the wife, I can't get my head around how's it no more obvious? How's it not out there? Why is it being took away so much? Like,
so
why?
See, the amount of folk that spoke to Dan before he passed away, were telling him the same things, and since that, I mean, I've kind of taken up a lot of we're doing it together, but I'm putting a lot of stuff out there on social media and that. The amount of folk that came to me and tell me similar stories and similar. The way Dan explained it was the beauty of this scam and this corruption is that these folk are in a position of power, as was said, a position of trust, and they're helping vulnerable people. It's guys who, and women, guys and women who are fighting to see their way, and they're absolutely terrified that they do one wee thing wrong, and that's them, they're fucked, they're not seeing their way. So they're feared to open their mouth. There's guys that I'm talking to right now, every other day, who are telling me the stories, who it's about the same lawyers, and it's the same shit they done to Dan. And I'm saying, will you help me? I'm building a fucking army here.
Yeah.
Like there's hundreds of people, and can you help me? Will you, if I need you, will you be able to help me? And they're like, I'm still going through this now. So if I speak out in these folk, what the fuck's going to happen? Like we've done it, Dan. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's not coming to light, because folk are terrified, man. Do you know what I mean? This is their life, it's their way.
Control, isn't it?
See, obviously, like, you're putting more stuff out there, Craig, and obviously you're gaining momentum with this. Have you had any pushback from like solicitor firms and that? And
for the lawyers?
Aye.
We've not. I've not. Nobody's heard anything for them, but obviously we've not mentioned any names. We are taking legal advice now with regards to the video, with regards to what we can and can't do, what we can and can't say. We don't. So basically, we told you they tried to put a gag order on Dan. We don't want the same thing happening to me or anybody else who's going to be helping us in this. Don't get me wrong. We'll just do what Dan done. It would be fine, but it's one less hassle for us, innit? Do you know what I mean? We don't want to really be having to do that, but there's no been MD named by us. Yep. So we've not had any kind of blowback for anybody really. Some daft comments for folk that don't have a clue, but I mean the one thing I'll say is I'm not going to name anybody. Nobody's got, but if folk want to know who the folk are, just go on Dan's Facebook. Yep. The names are there. Do you know what I mean? If anybody wants to ken, I don't need to actually name anybody. But
so are you going to be carrying on this fight, really?
Oh, aye. 100%.
You need to, because
he's laid on a blueprint, hasn't he?
Aye. That's what I'm saying. See if we can, if there's one thing we can do for so that he's not died for nothing. If we can get the police officers
that's my thing is, I'm like, I'm talking about if Dan passed away. as much as the liaison sergeant who asked if he could phone me, and he phoned me up the day that Dan was flying back home and says to me, forget about everything. Bear in mind, I had went in and asked for a subject access request on Darren. So I'd requested it that day and asked to speak to liaison. And he phoned me up and says, forget about this. Just forget about it. Concentrate and bring your son's coming home today. And I says to him, how do you know that? He was like, I phoned your daughter first. So I'm requesting the police and they're phoning somebody else behind my back, which is they're not allowed to do. So this is what they did. That was the first thing. He says to me, your son's coming home. Stop blaming yourself for this. And I was like, saying, my partner, don't blame myself because I know who killed Darren. And I says it to the police officers the last time they came to his flat when I was emptying it, just a few weeks before he passed away. I blamed them. So he also says that to me and I was like, I don't blame myself. And then he was like, at the end of the day, your son had terrible mental health problems. Just forget about everything and just concentrate on your son.
That's pure narcissistic.
So I then says to him,
Polish gaslighting, man.
are you trying to say that you think my son killed himself? Because I've got the death certificate here. So like what you're telling me is different from what I've got here. And he was like, just forget about everything, just concentrating, burying your son. And I was like, why are they trying to shut me down? So it wasn't until night time. I was then thinking, is it maybe because I was no feeling that good that day? Because obviously Darren was coming back home. And my daughter phoned me and she was like, Mum, did you get the sergeant, the police liaison sergeant? And I was like, aye. She goes, Mum, he was an arrogant arsehole to me on the phone. And I was like, what? She was like, aye. He was like, what's your mum want me for? I'm phoning to get the heads up. What's your mum want me for? And I was like, they're not allowed to do that. And that's what this is what we've been dealing with.
Especially
from
under
then.
them circumstances.
I know. That's what I mean, man. Like,
Absolutely, man.
And I
keep
was
in mind that see when Darren died, and how long was it before the police officer came to see you?
no, I had to phone and demand him come to my house on a Thursday.
They
I
knew,
reported Darren missing on the Monday,
he was,
and they
he was
knew.
missing. We'd report it. We knew he was maybe in danger earlier. Blah blah blah.
Can we go back to that? Are you all right to talk about that?
Aye.
Just obviously, we were talking just earlier when you says you went to the police station to report Darren missing. He's all right to talk about it.
Aye.
What happened? Like, obviously, Darren was out playing poker. You were in constant contact with him.
Aye. So I had got a message off Darren and I thought, that's no Darren. So I tried to phone and then I got another message to say, I've need minutes on my phone. And I was like, that's no Darren.
No.
He had.
Like, that's like something the way at school would say. I've need minutes on my phone.
I'm not coming in at 11.
I was like,
I'm not texting you back.
that's no Darren.
Dan always had money. No matter what, Dan always had
So
money.
it was a case that it was like, then it was, do you think I'm stupid? And I was like, this isn't Darren. No. So I then phoned my daughter. So then she was trying to get a hold of him and all that. And then he started like a chat thing with me, my youngest daughter, and one of his friends in it, which was started up with his phone, and it was all this crazy stuff. And I was like, something's not right. And then my daughter, she was like, Mum, do you just go back to your bed? It's all right. You're working tomorrow. Like, I'll see what's going on here. If there's anything, I'll phone you. So I was like, right, that's fine. So I was like, got up in the morning, hadn't heard anything, so I was getting ready. I was getting into my work early, and as I was walking down the stairs, I was like, shit, I dreamt Darren was in the kitchen when I come down this morning. I can't believe Darren was in my dream. And I walked into the kitchen, he was standing. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're home. So then I went to my work, and then my daughter phoned me, and she's like, Mum, we can't get a hold of Darren. We're worried. And straight away I says to her, he's away because he was in the kitchen this morning. I dreamt that he was I just had that horrible
Instinct,
like a punch in the like that feeling. I was like, no, this is serious. I went out my work and I phoned my sister, who's a police officer, and she was like, go to Command Police Station and report him as a vulnerable missing person, because she knows that would make it more important rather than them send me away and say come back in 48 hours or something. So that's how we went there, and I says to my partner, sticking in my throat going in here. And as I says before, told them everything, gave them all the information. He'd sent his Google map exactly where he was. He'd sent all these contacts, pictures of the folk that he was with that he didn't feel comfortable with. I gave it to Craig as well. As I say, they'd phoned me an earlier to say it was escalated to Interpol. The next day, they had phoned me again to see if I had any contact. And I told them again that Craig had been in contact with the Philippines. They'd already phoned him on the Monday night as well, so they was speaking to Craig because Craig had managed to get contact, but the police couldn't. And then obviously Craig told us, had to phone me to tell me what had happened.
So when did you find out, obviously, the sad news?
It was I was at my work in the morning. Was it Tuesday or Monday? I can't remember. Tuesday morning. So I'd for what Darren had sent through to us, I'd got a couple of numbers with it, folk that had obviously been in touch with him and that, and I'd phoned them up and got hold of them, chased them up, and was like, you do know Darren? Can you go? Do you know where he is right now? Can you check on him? And so I got a hold of a boy earlier who kent where he was staying anyway, and was like, I'll go and check his room and that. And he went check, no answer. And I was like, can you go to the reception and get in because we think he's hurt, we think something's wrong. And he's like, I'll go and say. So this is like on the Monday night.
So it's through the night, isn't it? Because of time difference.
So it was quite late on at night and that, and I'm like, look, mate, you need to tell them this is urgent. Like, we think he's hurt himself or somebody's hurt him, something's happened to him. And the folk are like, no, it's not. He goes, it's no hotel we're in, it's condos, and it's like, it was booked through booking.com, so it's like a privately owned thing. You'll need to wait for the owners to come and open the door. And I said, so when will that be? About 4 hours. I was like, right. So I think at this point it was 1 o'clock in the morning or something in my time. And I was like, I'm going to need to go to my bed and work tomorrow. But I was like, can you keep checking on him for me? Because it turned out this guy was talking to stayed just like a few corridors down or whatever it was, I don't know. And he said, I'll phone you if I get a hold of him and that. But I went to my bed. I didn't really sleep, to be honest, man. I did fall asleep at some point, but got up, trying to phone down, phone, and no answer. By that point, I told my wife and Jackie that when they were got to their beds, I was like, just go to your bed, I'll get him. Like, he'll be fine, and I'm going to fly out tomorrow and get him. Like, I'm not taking off for an answer, Mary's coming home. Because I did think I was going to get him. I thought he'll be sleeping, or, do you know what I mean? I don't know. But obviously, I went to my bed that night, and I was lying in my bed. I goes, everything I've done the day, every day I've spoke to you, everything I've done, I was like, I should have got a hold of him by now. Like, so I'd started, that's when I kind of thought, nah, something's wrong. Definitely there's something wrong here. Went to my work, and I was messaging this boy. I was like, mate, what's going on? Like, they said 4 hours, how are you not in this room anymore? Yeah, sorry, how are you not in there yet? And next message, I was like, can you phone me? So I phoned him, and I'm like, really sorry, but Dan's away. So, I mean, that was maybe close to, I don't know how many hours, man. Like, somebody could have went and done something if they were trying. Do you know what I mean?
What confuses me is how the police, with all the resources they have, can't get to Darren or any of the people the information that we've gave them when a guy near offence, Craig, who's a plasterer, can do it within an hour.
Yeah, if it's in
Something's not right here.
Exactly.
Something's not right. Something stinks. And that's what I kept thinking. Why they know? If
I think if
Craig can do it, why can they
when
not do
Jackie
it?
reported I'm missing, and like, I think if they'd been more proactive, that maybe they'd have been able to help him. Maybe it wouldn't have been, maybe it would have been too late. They'd maybe found him still in a good condition, but could have maybe been saved. I don't know.
Could have been something done. If it was just a bit more urgency.
No urgency.
I think they were probably hoping.
I think they wanted him away.
I think they were going
Because I
that well.
did tell them the last time they came to my son's flat when we was taking all the boxes into the car, and they came once again looking for him, and I was like, I blame you if anything happened, because they're hitting me with the, are you no missing him? Do you no want him home? Do you no want to try and get your boy? No, if anything happens to him, I'm holding you responsible. Police, lawyers, blood in their hands.
Aye.
And
Did
I'm
you have
coming
to
for
pass
you.
this on to the police? But you, that
I had to
conversation?
phone the police and tell them. No, sorry, did you phone them? Because I can
No,
remember.
I didn't phone them.
It was me. I had to phone the police and tell them, aye, that's right. I phoned the police.
But
Again, I'd have stuck in your throat again, Matt.
But it does, and then
Darren
Craig's phoning them.
See, when I phoned them and told them, it was almost as if they were questioning me. Don't know how to word this.
As if it's a
They were
scam.
they weren't interested in the fact that Dan was dead. They were more interested in finding out
How much you knew.
what I knew. How do you think this has happened? Who was away? Blah blah blah. But and I'm going, that's your fucking job, man.
Aye.
Aye.
Like,
No.
help us here. Do you know what I mean?
Did they help in
No.
any way whatsoever?
No, not at
I
all.
had to phone and beg the commandant liaison.
And
To
then
come-
you phone your daughter first.
No, this is after this. This
is
is
it?
this is just the first week. So Dan, we got told Dan had passed away on the Tuesday. So by the Thursday morning, I've not been sleeping. I'm up all night. I'm want to go to the lawyer's office. I'm going to the police. I'm like basically want to get somebody. And then I phoned the commandant police, and I was like, I've been left. I reported this to you on the Monday. Nobody's been near me. Nobody's contacted. I need to speak to somebody. So he agreed to come down. To be fair, he did say until he'd get an official confirmation, he couldn't tell me that Dan had passed away. And I was like, I understand that, but where he's been? Like, we're dealing with the Philippines.
Aye.
Like, we need
We were the ones having to phone the Philippines.
Aye,
See, when
my
I'm on the
daughter
phone to
was
them,
doing everything as
couldn't
well.
understand a word they were saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Was the Philippines more helpful than what?
No,
Was it worse?
No.
Well,
this is it's just. But for me to get him to come, so he did come down to my house after me begging him to come, and I was ranting about how did you not help him? Why is this? I want a subject access. Forget about it. Don't ask for that. Just forget about it. Why was all my son's property missing? Where's all his money? His bank card? His watch? Where's all this? Don't say anything. You want your son back home, don't you? Don't say anything.
So that's just to get ignored?
So, aye.
well, basically,
So
aye. I mean,
basically, it's
Dan,
like...
Dan always had a watch
shut
on.
up.
He always had a
we
good
knew
watch
he'd
on.
we Kent had money. There was boys playing with him just before it. We know Dan he didn't live that lifestyle with no money.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay, I'm listening to police. And I was like, why did you not help him? That always sticks in my mind. And he says, look, it was complicated with Dan. Do you know that Nicola Sturgeon's man? His case.
Aye.
That's what it's like. It's complicated. Just because something's complicated doesn't mean say you don't help somebody.
Yep.
That's what they said to you?
Aye.
That's what he told me
Word for
in the
word.
house. Nicola, and I'm like, I don't even care who
complicated.
Nicola Sturgeon's man is, but it's just
This is the police.
this is what I was dealing with. So that was obviously the last time I had, no, about 2 hours later, he then come back to my house to tell me that he'd get the official confirmation that it was Darren. And then that was the last anything for Commandant Police. So until I went up and wanted a subject access request in Darren, I had to go up and fill out the form. And that was the day that I then asked for the liaison to speak to me, because I had a couple of questions I wanted to ask them. And that was when it was a near liaison, because the liaison for Commandant wasn't in that day. So I take it they just put you through to whoever's liaison at the time. It was a near liaison that had phoned me and was saying all the stuff about Dan to me. And that's been nothing I've heard. And then I got my son home, and then the undertaker's here. All his paperwork has to go to Edinburgh because he's been repatriated. And so the paperwork gets sent to Edinburgh. So Dan come home on the Tuesday. We was up at the undertaker's on the Wednesday. They sent all his paperwork away. And on the Friday, the undertaker phoned me to say the coroner in Edinburgh wanted to speak to me. I was like, right, okay. So this Dr. Kate, I can't remember her name, phoned me. And she was asking me questions, why was down there, what was the kind of story, and I was trying to tell her things, and she was like, are you happy with this? And I was like, I've got the death certificate. Darren had double pneumonia, which turns to sepsis, and that explains why Darren was sending crazy messages. So I'm like, this is why I accept that. And she's like, are you sure you accept this? And I was like, I don't know. So she says, I'll give you my phone number. If you've got any questions, phone me back. So I then phoned my sister and my daughter, who are like, look, Mum, we have got questions, but obviously we're just listening to it.
Again, trusting
people. And I was like, right, okay, can you phone this Dr. Kate back and tell her all the stuff? So then that was on the Friday they phoned. I phoned on the Monday to say, if you want to know anything about Dan can tell you himself. Because I was like, I've got this documentary and Dan will tell you everything himself. And they then says that it was getting sent to Procurator Fiscal and somebody would be contacting me from the local police. So I was like, hell no, saying to myself. So I was like, I phoned legal advice. Can I refuse the local police? Yep, you can ask for another. But that got taken out of my hands because it was the MITS unit in Paisley that contacted us. And they've been dealing with everything. So they come down to see us. They come down to speak about a guy who'd just been in the Philippines and passed away. They didn't realise there was a big, massive story behind it. And they've been brilliant, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say anything because they have been fantastic. Phone you every second day, check in with you constantly. And then they went to Procurator Fiscal with questions and they decided to do a second post-mortem and then discovered that the Philippines had lied to us as well. So it just goes, like, what is going on? Why is there so many people lying? Like, you get a death certificate, you believe it 100%. You're like, right, this is what's happened. It's a legal document. So we now find out the Philippines have lied to us.
So was it the cause of death there? They're lying about the Philippines?
The Philippines says he had double pneumonia and the pathologist here performed the second post-mortem, bear in mind the embalming things all been done, but he didn't have pneumonia. That 100%. Is 100%. He did not have pneumonia.
Which makes sense because, like, in the lead up to Darren's death, weeks before it, I was in touch with him every other day. He's good. Darren's got a lot of really, really loyal, good pals that were helping him as well when he was there. And we were all in touch with him right up to the day it happened. And not once was that, I'm no real, like, pneumonia, man. Like, I've seen folk with pneumonia and they're not even that bad and they're in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? So,
there's always a telltale sign with that.
You're wondering how deep it goes as well with us.
Then I'm like, why did I sit back?
So did you get a cause of death?
No,
see, because he's been embalmed to come home.
Embalmed earlier.
He was embalmed earlier.
I must say, the undertaker over there treated him like royalty. Because they told us that you don't get to see repatriated people. Dan we could see Dan. Dan come home in a beautiful white casket, American style, encased in glass, looking the exact same as the day he left.
I love Dan, man.
It was just the care of the undertaker in the Philippines has been second to none. The police and the pathologists over there, then I've got different opinions about them, but the undertaker, and the same with the undertaker here, and the major crimes Paisley unit have been absolutely fantastic. I can't fault them. But everybody else, I'm like, where's all these lies coming from? Where's all this?
To put your trust in an organisation like that.
Was there any question from our government to their government over why this has happened?
By the MITS unit. So they, obviously because Dan's post-mortem showed that it didn't have, the second one showed it didn't have pneumonia, so they go back to the Procurator Fiscal, so he instructs what steps. So they're in touch with Interpol, but so far the Philippines are ignoring Interpol. And you're kind of stuck because they've got no like they can't just go over there and do anything. So you're basically hoping that the goodwill of the Philippines, but so far they're just ignoring
so
them.
many questions, isn't it?
Aye.
I mean, like you're saying, you go to death stuff, get double pneumonia, sepsis, and that answers a question. But the text messages were all about.
As if
No, he's no go to it. So there's
So
more
what?
questions.
So
in
why
that.
is he sending these mental
why is he
messages?
sending crazy
Right.
messages? Why was he in fear for
Was
his
it
life?
mentioned?
Aye. See the message? Did they not send a message saying he was worried about certain people and stuff?
And that's what he
Aye,
sent.
that's what the messages
That's
were.
how he sent us the
Sent us
two
the-
contacts, the two people.
So the
that-
folk he was worried about is the folk I used to find her.
Seriously.
Aye.
but the
When
police
did any
haven't
stuff
spoke
get
to
to
them
him?
yet.
Well, the last two people to see him alive, one of them was the guy who found him. And he's, so like I said earlier on, he always had a good watch on Darren. Always had money, always had cash. Always had cash. He'd always have poker chips in case he needed to play to make money, in case he maybe ran out of money or something bad happened, and he'd always make sure he had poker chips so he could go and have a way of earning as well. None of that was there. He also had said in a couple of messages, X, Y, and Z amount of money is here. If anything happens to me, I want this to go to Cara, blah, 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 gone. So none of that's there. The only things that were left were his phone and his MacBook, which has got all the evidence. Not all the evidence. We've got all the evidence as well, but it's everything, absolutely everything that Darren had on them is in there. And they haven't returned that. That it was there, but we're not allowed to get it. We're actually having to get. I mean,
Aye.
we're having to go and need to fly air and pick it up.
Pope's getting a whiff for it, but
See the thing, right, with Darren being so meticulous. See with what's happened. Obviously, you're going poker chips, and it can be a bit of a dodgy lifestyle. It's a perfect cover up, isn't it? It is a perfect cover up.
see at first when they told the money and all that was missing, I was just like, do you know what? Dan, every time I spoke to him, he spoke highly. The people that worked in the casinos, the hotels, everybody stayed, right? He spoke, and I was like, they're probably poor wee people. Maybe they've just took it. So that was me thinking, and Dan would have gave them it if they needed it. That was the type of person he was. So I was like, do you know what? They're just a poor people. But then no, Manila's a big city. It's like, it's no like a slum like what you're thinking.
Like it used to be.
So I just didn't think much into it at the beginning because obviously there was too much going on.
Aye.
But also then when the death certificate came in, I was just like, oh, obviously maybe the folk was no money, and so they just thought, oh, this cash is here, we'll take it. But the one question I did ask was when Dan was found and all his property was missing, and the Kilmarnock police knew about that. Why did they not check his bank cards, see if it's been used?
Yeah.
If you
His wallet was gone.
if they find
Aye, exactly.
somebody passed away and they've been robbed, that's one of the first things they do.
Aye.
Some motive.
They would check the banks to see, has it been used?
Aye.
No. It wasn't until weeks and weeks later when we found out the second post-mortem that I then was like, says to the Paisley if they could help. And they was getting the cyber unit to look into it. But
It's like the way he was living his life then, obviously, when I'm going back to recording his cell all the time, to going out there and having to live playing poker, and then what's happened to him. It's like he's got a structure. Everything is going to be
He
a
has.
certain way.
Aye,
Because if one thing was out of place, not only he would know, but you would know, and you would know, you'd be able to go, even though he's in Thailand, Cambodia, wherever it was he was, you would say, right, the watch, red flag,
You know what's-
the money, red flag, go and check these red flags.
But see the guy that you phoned to go and check on him, like his lack of urgency.
There was a severe lack of
A
urgency.
severe lack of urgency, but he was one of the ones that Darren was worried about.
Aye.
It's
And he's not been questioned.
No, sorry. Aye, he was questioned
I
by
was
the
taken to
Philippine police.
Filipino police that day.
By the Philippine police. But what? So he phoned me and was still at the room that Darren was in. And the police were there, and I don't know what they're called, the folk that forensics, aye. And he was saying, oh, they want to talk to you. And I'm going on the phone. They don't know if a clue what I'm saying. I don't know what they're saying. So I'm saying, put him back on the phone. so that they can relay messages. They're relaying messages through this guy who they don't have a clue who he is, to tell me things, and I'm going, I've just dawned on me, I don't even know who this guy is. I was the only reason I was contacting him was to find my nephew, my pal, my nephew. And I just kind of clicked in, and I'm going, he's the last person to see him alive.
Aye.
He was going up and checking his room, and all these things are missing. The amount of money that Darren had said was there, and the things that he had, if he had taken them, he could have very easily just turned it into the Filipino police and been like that. Look, there's a wee bit of money there.
Aye.
But
Aye.
boom. Do you know what I mean? Just talk shite here, say whatever you've got to say, but there's your cut. I mean, I'm not saying that is what happened, but why no? That's what that country's like. Do you know what I mean?
Happened. Like we're still waiting.
It's like your story's right out of a film. And
That is, man.
That is exactly right
That's
out of a film.
yeah.
So how can that not happen? That is a possibility.
I've said throughout the full thing, I've been talking to folk, and folk are going the same way I was with Darren when it first all started, kind of coming together. I was saying to him, Dan, come on, man, this can't be the case. You've got to screw the nut here, and we'll get through it. We'll sort it out. You just need to keep fighting. These folk are saying the same things to me. Come on, that can't happen. This is wee Kelly. This is just a wee tune. And I'm going, right, so forget it's Darren I'm talking about. And you're watching this story on a Netflix documentary, and it's somebody down in London. Would you be going, oh, this can't be true? No, you wouldn't. So just because it's in our tune, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It didn't. Do you know what I mean? This happens
We've lived
every
it.
day all over the world. These kind of things. I mean, it's true. Do you know what I mean?
It's pretty obvious that nobody's going to give you any kind of answer. It's going to be down to you getting the answers. And I think with the right direction, I think it will happen, because it's so strange as even the word. It's crazy, and that's for the start, for here, for our police service or whatever, to lawyers to go into a different country in the other side of the world.
I knew that they're lying to you as well.
Aye,
What is going on here? There's something will connect up somewhere, but it just stinks.
It'll be a long journey for us, but like I say, we've got an army behind us, man. We'll no stop. We're here to get the lawyers, the police, the judge, everything. Like, we want change. We don't want other folk to have to go through this. Do you know what I mean? And if we can get one of these things, it means you didn't die for none. Do you know what I mean? That's the aim for at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, he was clever. How he done stuff. He was smart. So people didn't like that, etc. So there's going to be something. I think yous will get the answer that you need. But I don't think anybody's going to come and gaze it. That's just kind of my take on it. But it's, as you say, it stinks right through.
It does.
For the start to where we're at now.
And it's like so far-fetched. But it's their life.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And this is all just because a daddy wants to see his wee girl.
And that's the thing.
That's the fundamentals right there.
Aye, when Cara grows up.
But when she grows up, how hard's it going to be? Because of all this, her dad's not there.
How is anybody going to be able to explain this story to that lassie?
Well, at the end of the day, this is one thing we've got. That video will always be there.
Yeah.
We'd never. I mean, we're still wanting to have Cara in my life. So,
I've been trying. Her mum promised me that I would get to see her, because when I phoned her to tell her about
Darren died,
and she was like, promise you I'll let you see her, because I was like, that's all I've got left to do now. So she promised me, and then the following week she promised me still, and then the following week again she promised that I would definitely get to see her, but she hadn't told her yet, because she was finding it hard, because at the end of the day Cara loved her dad, and I'm like, why would you not let him see her? Like, why? But anyway, I didn't say anything, and I'm just like, hopefully. But now when I quote, she doesn't answer the phone.
Do you think it's going to be a big legal battle again to see you've got
probably
rights.
I know, but it's just why does it have to be like this again? You've to then start dealing with a system that you've got no faith in.
Trust.
Who's going to help you?
Exactly.
Because
how can you go to
locally here? I have got no faith. And now in the Philippines, I'm questioning, is all the systems corrupt?
It makes you question absolutely everything. Like, see, before we were going, it's just this wee group. are lawyers, but then like I say, I'm in contact with a lot of other guys now, and a lot of other people that tell me the same stories at different bits of Scotland, down in England and everything. And
Just think how powerful, see that wee group of lawyers, sheriffs and all that, think how much pull they've got.
Aye, it's
And
disgusting.
not just in that town.
All
They've
of
got pull
Scotland.
all of Scotland,
Aye.
England.
And that's who we put our fucking trust in.
I just,
Yep.
but see, you said your sister was a police officer.
Aye,
And
my
my
wife.
brother.
Your brother, is it?
No, both.
Aye, both of them.
So
How are
I
they feeling?
believed.
Well, my wife's not actually in the police anymore.
Aye.
She's
Is it
no,
due to this?
no, due to an air thing that happened. But she is actually still in the police,
Aye.
but she's on a career break now.
Right.
Aye.
But I doubt
Surely
that
their trust is all shaking in the system. You know what I mean?
she's going to be getting like a review thing to see whether she wants to go back to the police and whether she wants to extend the break and things like that. But she's talking to me the other day there about it and goes, I don't even know what to say.
No.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
It's hard when something that you believed in
Aye.
just fails you.
Well, you're always told, put your faith in the police. If you need help, go to them. So when you go to them, you expect answers, you expect some sort of them to do some sort of work.
Yep.
And you just getting told lies. You're getting told do your own work and bring it back to us.
See, you
so that
think
they can then put it under the carpet and then just brush it aside.
the way I kind of look at it with the police thing is that, I mean, like we says, my wife's a police in the police, my brother-in-law's in the police, my actual brother's in the police, my sister-in-law's in the police. I ken there's good police officers. I know there's
There
folk
is.
that
Oh, I definitely,
do you know what I mean? I know that these officers that are getting sent out and they're just doing what they're told. They're doing their job at the end of the day. They don't ken any of the backstory. They don't know nothing.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? We're not saying that all police are
No, I'm
are
not
bad.
saying I don't.
That's not what we're saying.
They're not all bad, but there
But
is
Our
bad.
experience has been fucking terrible.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And aye, it's no, we're no sitting here going, oh, don't
Yeah,
trust the
no,
police.
no.
Don't. The police are, majority of policemen, I believe, are good folk. Do you know what I mean? They're just doing their job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Normally we end these podcasts with like a kind of a message, but I feel like it's got to be a bit different tonight. I feel like this is just genuinely it's just the beginning. And I'd like to, I mean, I'm speaking on probably behalf of 3 years, but we'd like to help you on this journey. We really want to.
No,
there
it's
for yous and
nice,
help
and I'm
yous as
glad
much
that
as
he's
can.
wanted
Definitely
to
added
come up
three
and
more bodies
speak.
to the army, I'll tell you that.
Aye,
Definitely.
I'm glad you are listening, and I want you to
I don't even think
get it out there.
it's not even started yet, and I think it's going to.
I say,
It's just a fight, innit?
I says to Jackie the day when I went to pick her up, I was, for this all started, between yourselves, reaching out and us doing this, and then, I don't know if I can name the other guy that's going to be helping us, Jamie Downey. Jamie Downey, who's been brilliant. He's been doing stuff on TikTok to get it out there, and he's wanted to do a wee kind of chat with us as well. There's been a few other things that's happened yesterday. Some more kind of evidence that's I've got folk working on, and they've come back with it for me. The day was the first day that I actually sat down for a wee minute and was going, "You're actually going to do this?" Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something's going to happen. Because for ages I'm going, well, what can we do? Do you know what I mean?
Aye,
Nobody cares.
100%.
Nobody seems to care about them. Nobody seems to care about what's happened.
I think talking to yourselves the day, I think you are going to take this forward.
Oh,
I
aye.
think you need to get this message across to every single person. Going as many, even of these, as possible.
Aye.
Talk to
Aye.
as many people as you
That's
can.
what the aim is, mate.
As
That's
far
what the
Aye,
aim
we
as
just
possible
want
can.
people to listen. Maybe there is people there that can help you, and like even with anything,
It just takes
anything
one
at all.
That's it, man.
Aye, just get
If
the
this
right
message lands in
person.
somebody's ear and they go, well, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a struggle like that before,
Aye.
but that person is in the same kind of situation. I've got a bit of power. They might be able to help. Do you
Aye,
know what I mean?
definitely.
So you need to
Folk with resources
shout
and things that we maybe aren't capable of. Do you know what I mean? Like,
You wouldn't believe
Aye.
the amount of people that, like you says, that's reached out to you about in the same situation as Dan, as regards to senior kids, like
Aye.
both sides. We had Dan had a group chat I was in, and it's called the Circle of Trust. That's what it's called when he was away all the time. And the amount of people that's on that, it's going through the same. Like there's loads of them, and when they first found out about Dan passing away, there was like, please don't let this be the end.
Aye.
like make sure he's right. We're all here. We've still got here people. They've got evidence of things and all that. So there is a lot of people.
Oh, definitely. There's
One thing I want to say about our request at Darren's subject access request to get his information, and you have to be up to 28 days to receive it. And on the 27th day, I lost my shit because I'm like, I knew they would hold this to the 28th day. No, they're refusing me subject access.
So
And it says on the letter as well that if it would incriminate the police, if it could cause the police prosecution, then they've got the right to withhold it, and I don't think that's right.
It's legal. They're legally allowed to say no to that because of that. But so basically, what they're saying is, you're wanting to find out something that we've done wrong, so we're not going to let you find that out. But
So if there's some sort of evidence incriminating the police,
And that's one of the things on it.
they're allowed to rip it up and fling it out the window and go, that never happened.
How can I not get it? I have contacted Paisley to ask them to try and help me get some information. I've spoke to the lady for the data protection. She says even when somebody passes, they don't need to give you the information when he's next to kin. And I'm like, that's how I want to know. I want to know why my son had to leave. I want to know all these anonymous stiff-offs. Like, what is going on here? He was only in trouble with the police that wee tiny bit.
Because of this.
Because of this. So I want
that's
to
the only
know.
time he's ever been in trouble with his life with the police.
Like, so I'm like, he's not like a 20-year criminal where it'll take you maybe the 28 days to get all his information to me. It's just been that wee...
And all we wanted was to see what they'd actually done with the information given,
Like
to see whether they
actually
did actually
helped
have
him.
crime reference numbers, to see whether they actually reported it, to see whether... Because these folk were out in Jackie's house taking reports, none came yet. Dan went to the police station 4 times, nothing came yet. So that's what we wanted to know, whether that was actually logged and what they've actually done to help. And so...
And also what I want to say, sorry,
No, go.
is the paper guy that I spoke to. When I phoned up was the day they refused me the subject access, because then I was like, I can't keep my face shut anymore.
No.
So I had phoned them and I was telling the guy this story and he was like, wait a minute, if somebody passes away abroad, that's a story itself. The police normally tip us off. They give us these stories. He says, how have I not heard about this? That again was then like,
Alarm bells.
How many red flags do you need, man?
what is going on here? Why? Because I had read a story a couple of weeks previous to me phoning them about a lady that had passed away abroad, and they had ruled it as something different, and then it came to light that it was something else. So that's how that stuck in my head. So I thought, I'm phoning the papers because, and the guy that when I told him everything, he's like, you've got 3 massive stories here. One is the fact that he's passed away abroad. That's a story alone. Without anything else attached to it, that is a story. And why we never get contacted about this? He goes, I don't know, because we get contacted with tips like this all the time. And I was like, why did nobody contact him?
It's rotten to the core, isn't it?
What is going on here?
Well,
Look,
definitely need to tell every single paper in this country.
This is the beginning.
Every
I really
single
think
person.
it's
I do think with
Going
the
on
likes of
interest.
this going out and the other things we've got planned, I think there'll be a lot more comes out, and a lot more.
we're on board with these 100%. If there's anything, honestly, we can do fees.
I will share everything as well.
course.
when it's needed
Brilliant,
to.
man. I appreciate it.
aye, no, that's
Really
really
appreciate
good. You've
that.
been so kind to us.
No. not
Is there
at all.
anything you'd like to add just before we finish off?
Justice for them.
Yes,
Aye.
definitely.
Justice for
Right,
Dan.
right.
Sorry,
just,
No, you just,
please, MD that listens, MD, it's just keep supporting us,
Help.
keep doing what you have been doing for us. MD that hasn't been in touch and maybe thinks they could help us, please do it.
How did he get in touch with you?
I can Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, I'll whatever, I don't know, just
come through us.
come through you, anything like that, it's going to be out there. Just search Justice for Darren, hashtag Justice for Darren, and you'll find somebody connected to it, do you know what I mean? It's not just myself and Jackie and the full families help with this, so just talk to anybody. Do you know
I
what I
don't
mean?
have social media. I don't have anything like that. I've just got a TikTok account to see a
Cause of
video
this.
to download it. But I don't have anything like that. And all else I want to say is when we go to see Cara, that's what we want.
Aye.
Where's Cara? The kids are all, that's their war cry,
Aye.
is where's
My
Cara?
boy and lassie are asking for her every other day, do you know what I mean? Like,
I do think this is, as you say, it's a battle, and this is just the beginning.
The system needs brought down, man.
And it's going to go forward.
Aye, it's not just dads that mums and dads that affects, it's
Of
like
course.
grandparents.
Aye.
The kids, I would bring all the kids, 10 kids I would have in my house, maybe some extras sometimes, but we would have parties and themed it. Like there was all together. That was the thing, and I haven't done anything
all the wains are
for
asking.
ages because they're just like, where's Cara?
Aye.
And it's
That
horrible.
piece just missing. Makes
But I
it
believe
horrible.
that the kids, if we don't get to see it, I believe the kids will be the link in the future.
In the future, aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I believe that that's where
They're all a
that'll
similar
come
age and
back.
they all ken each
They're
other,
all-
and do you know what I mean? So at some
So
point,
it's really
Children a
clo-
bit, right?
Aye,
some
it's all
point,
really
aye.
close and everything. So I believe that'll be the link. And that's why I'm gathering up, like, Dan, the Filipino undertaker dressed him in the traditional funeral outfit for the Philippines. Because he was a Stone Island guy, Alexander McQueen. But I was like, asked if we could keep it. So the Paisley unit, being as kind as it was, had got it all dry clean in a beautiful gift box and everything, brought it down to me. Because like try to collect all the memories as well for like Cara, some to show her. So
if she
this
ever
is,
does come
I'm trying
when
to-
she's older, I'm hoping we get to see her before then.
aye,
But
so do I, but I'm trying to collect everything and gather all this stuff and like memories, like his funeral and that, when I went to a horse and carriage, everybody was wanting to walk, so we stopped the traffic whenever you're illegally going to be able to stop the traffic again. So we had the banners and everything to make it, because Dan would have been raging if we didn't get it out there. Didn't matter what day it was.
Aye.
Any opportunity to get it out there. So that's why I was like, no, we need to do that. Even the hearse had hashtag Justice for Dan, wedding car ribbon on it, and everything, just to make a statement, and it's made a big impact. But again, everything's
like you say, it's just the start. This is
It's
just the start.
I've no doubt.
sorry,
doubt
we're
about it
rabbit
at all.
known.
No, you're
No,
fine.
and you just do want to add.
I'm just sorry you're going through all this for something that's obviously totally avoidable, and it's this country. It's basically let he's doing, and hopefully he's get a change that he's need, that everybody needs.
Aye, because it's not just us. Ours has just went
Yeah.
to the extreme, and we can't.
Aye.
We're still trying to get the answers to why it went like that.
Well, I'll just reiterate, just if anybody wants to get in touch, just Justice for Dan, hashtag Justice for Dan.
Aye.
Get in touch.
100%,
Do the
man.
ending. These are definitely, you've got a fight in your hands. And I really do hope it's not just that one system, because there's a few systems being brought to their knees.
Oh,
Because
100%.
it is absolutely disgusting what's happening.
I can't thank you enough for.
No,
for
thank
putting
you.
that out and being
Thanks
there
for
and
listening
stuff.
to us.
No, as I say, we're 100% on board. Just a quick shout to our sponsors, Allied Maritime Solutions, McGowan Fitness, and a big shout out to Paul up here at Green Room. But well, at the end of this one, I get different. Just usually it's kind of a laugh, but I do think we're fully on board with this. And is there any news what I had before I tie this off?
No, I'm good.
Just want to end it with justice for Darren. It's genuinely it's hit me hard, and
No, thank
I'm on
you.
board with it.
That
So
means a lot.
that's a nail on a fish. Thanks very much.